Okay, children, so listen here. Just a second. Good afternoon all. So where did we stop yesterday? We have completed the structure of cell wall. Yes. So yeah, I have to start with plasmodesmata. Okay. So there is something called as plasmodesmata. Okay, so let us try to understand what is this plasmodesmata. So let us say that there is a plant cell here. Okay, let us say that there is one more plant cell here. Okay, let me draw it a little bit farther away from this particular structure. So there is one plant cell which is there, and there is one more plant cell which is like kind of adjacent to it. So here you need to understand what are the layers which are there. So let us say this yellow layer is the plasma membrane. In case if it is having a secondary wall, the next layer will be a secondary wall. So let us say that this blue color is the secondary wall. Let us say that this red color is the primary wall. So here you will have again, like you will have secondary wall will be there, and similarly you will have a primary wall. And what will be outside all these things? Outside all these things you will have like adjacent cells. Between adjacent cells, what will you have? You will have something called as a middle lamella. Yeah, right, middle lamella is there. Okay, so now here in this case, whenever there are cells like this, so let us say that it is like this. So there is something which is connecting these two things. Okay, so let us try to see. So there is a layer which will be there. In between two cells, you will be able to see some sort of connection, and cytoplasmic flow will be there. Okay, so this bridge-like structure that you are seeing here is what we call it as plasmodesmata. So if you have one plant cell and if you have another plant cell, between these two plant cells, you can have a connection, a bridge sort of thing can be there. So which will be allowing the movement of substances between these two cells. So this is what we call it as plasmodesmata. Are we able to understand? So plasmodesmata is a continuity of the cytoplasm. So if you are having cytoplasm here inside this thing, it is like kind of a continuous flow of this thing. So there will be some sort of like connectivity between these things. Okay, they are asking how many such possibilities are there for this thing. So it is something like a conjugation tube, but it is okay, but it is not exactly completely open. So there might be some kind of proteins which will be blocking. So if at all there is some substance which are to be transported, it can move through what? From cell to cell, what it can do? It can kind of move through the plasmodesmata. So water and all flows will be there. Water flow will be there. So whenever this water is like kind of getting more and more in the cell, and the turgor pressure is increasing. So basically, whenever too much of water has gone into the cell, this will try to pressurize it. When it is trying to pressurize, what will happen is the cell will open its water openings, which we call it as aquaporins, and it will try to move from cell to cell. So this cell will be taking. When this cell is like kind of having it, like whatever be the number of cells, like it will have like one more connection again like this. A cell can have many plasmodesmata. Say for example, you think about a parenchymatous tissue like this. Okay, there can be connection between these two things. 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 Suppose if it is like kind of like closer, you might have connection here also. Again, connection can be like this. So like this, you can have any number of bridges can be formed. So this is continuity. So this is what is plasmodesmata. Okay, are we understanding? Just take the diagram of plasmodesmata. Okay. Yes, every single cell will have this porins. Okay, porins are just proteins. Okay, all these cells will have this protein structures which are called as porins. Porins will be helping to transport substances. It will facilitate the diffusion. So facilitated diffusion will be happening through these kind of structures called as porins. Okay, so now let us write something about this plasmodesmata quickly. The cell wall is not continuous, but are interrupted by tiny pores called plasmodesmata. Okay, these pores form a bridge between two cells and allows cytoplasmic continuity. Okay, these are living connections or cytoplasmic canals Canals between cells, plant cells. They may contain endoplasmic reticulum, tubules. Okay. Okay, are you done? Okay. So now next one is what you need to know is like in plants you have to have something called as symplasm and apoplasm. Okay. So let us say that there are cells, plant cells are associated like this. Okay. So let us say that this is like kind of a thing. Symplasm is there and apoplastic movement. Yeah, right. So basically what is that thing you need to understand is, let us say that there is some kind of uh, plasmodesmatal connections here. Okay, like this it is like having these connections are there. So sometimes what can happen is the movement of these molecules can happen through the plasmodesmata. Water can move through this particular pathway. Or sometimes what it can do is it need not enter the cell only. Water can also move in between the cells like this without entering the cells. So it will be like kind of like not entering into the cells, but it will try to surround this area like this. So the green arrow here is indicating the apoplastic pathway. And the yellow arrow here is indicating the symplastic pathway. The continuous cytoplasm here between all these cells together, we call it as symplasm. Outside the symplasm, whatever is there, this plasm, there will be some fluid which will be filled here also. Okay, let me draw it in green. So there will be some fluid which will be here, which will be like kind of covering up all the cells. So that is what we call it as apoplasm. Okay, so this is how your movement will happen. So you have two types of movements or two types of fluids which are there connected with the thing. One is a continuous network of cellular cytoplasm, that we call it as symplasm. Outside the cell you have a continuous flow, so that one we call it as apoplasm. Okay, draw this diagram. Okay, so what is this thing? You have to write symplasm. What is symplasm? Symplasm is refers to living matter and cytoplasm that forms continuously between two cells. This is symplasm. Then you have something called as apoplasm. It refers to non-living matter in intracellular space between cells. Yeah, in the cell wall is only non-living. Whatever I am talking about apoplasm is like kind of outside the cell. You have the cell wall is there, even outside the cell wall, between the cells, it is like kind of filled with matter which are not living. Inside the cell, it is living. This particular layer of cell wall, non-living. Even outside the thing, whatever is there is non-living. Okay, so this is what is apoplasm and symplasm. Coming to the functions of cell wall. You have some properties. What are the properties? What are the functions of cell wall? It gives mechanical strength. It offers rigidity. Prevents from osmotic burst. Okay. It controls growth and shape. These are all functions of cell wall. So you guys can quickly write it. So say for example, if you have a cell, okay, suppose if it is taking more amount of water, water molecule is increasing. Beyond a particular point, if it is an animal cell, it will burst. But in plant cell, what is there? You have a layer which is called as the cell wall. So this layer of cell wall will not allow the cell to burst. So that is what we call it as osmotic burst. When cell wall is there, the cell will not burst because of osmosis. Okay, this will be like kind of protecting. It will be like kind of a wall kind of structure which will not allow the cell to burst. But in animal cells, what will happen is as you are like absorbing more and more in water, naturally that cell burst will happen. Are we understanding? Okay, so that is what is. And the last part of the cell envelope is your cell coat. You have something called a cell coat. That is the next thing. What is the cell coat? The plasma membrane of animal cells have a layer of oligonucleotides, glycoproteins outside the cell membrane. This layer is called cell coat. Okay, outside the plasma membrane, you have studied about plasma membrane. So this plasma membrane, outside this thing, you will be able to see some layers like this, some branched structures, which will be like forming what we call it as the cell coat. So that is what we call it as cell coat. The cell coat is strengthened by calcium salts, silicon, and other materials. Okay, are we able to understand? So this is what is thing. Okay, so you are asking what is oligonucleotide. Okay, oligonucleotide is a small strand of DNA. Okay, nucleotides, no, nucleotides will have like three components. So one, you have a sugar in which you will be having something called as a base, and then you will have like you have something called as a phosphate. This is called as one nucleotide. Okay, you will study about this in the structure of DNA. As of now, you please don't understand. It's I mean like I have to like teach you some basics here. So you will study in biomolecules about this particular structures. What are oligonucleotides? Just you understand what is the meaning of oligonucleotides. Oligonucleotide is a small chain of water nucleotides. So like this, it will be there. The phosphate group, sugar group, and the base group. Then you have phosphate group, sugar group, and then the base group. Like this, it will be arranged. So this is how your oligonucleotide chain will be formed. A short stretch of nucleotide is called as oligonucleotide. Okay, this is one nucleotide. So this component, no, this component is one nucleotide. So this is the next nucleotide. This is the next nucleotide. This is the next nucleotide. Like this, nucleotides are attached together. That part is what we call it as oligonucleotide. Yeah, water will transport in plants only through apoplasm or symplasm till it reaches the xylem. After it reaches the xylem, it will move through the xylem and xylem only. You see, you imagine plant like this. Okay, so this is a thing. You have your roots are there. Okay, so even in the plant, the central part is the xylem. Okay, so let us say that this is the xylem. Your water will be absorbed from here and all. And what will happen is it will be given here. So here and all, it is after it is like kind of taken, it was like kind of like entering into the xylem. So once it is entering into the xylem, it will move only through the xylem. Okay. So if you have a cell like this, like if you take a root of a plant and if you are seeing it, let us say that this is the root hair. The central portion will be the xylem. So which means the water has to be absorbed by the root hair and then it has to move till the xylem. So apoplast will be because like it will be like kind of like through the cells, then we call it as symplast. If it is happening in between the cell, then we call it as apoplast. Are we able to understand what is cell coat? Cell coat present only in animal cells. Okay. So now moving on further. Functions of cell coat. The cell coat contains the proteins that are involved in blood grouping. Okay. The second thing is the cell coat plays a major role in graft rejection. Okay. And then the third thing, it protects the plasma membrane. And the fourth thing, makes the cells sensitive to foreign bodies. Yeah, I'll explain what it is. Just wait for some time. Just copy it down. I'll explain. Okay, just hang on for a while. I mean, like just 1 minute. I'll just take some water bottle and come. Okay, we'll try to study now what are these things. So if you see cell coat, no, cell coat has like important things in animal cells. This is the plasma membrane. So outside the plasma membrane, you will have something like this, which will be branched, which is made up of proteins, glycoproteins. These kind of structures are called as antigens. A bacteria can have a cell coat like this. Any organism can have a cell coat. Even in your bodies, your blood cells and all will have this thing. Based on this type of the cell coat only, your blood group is there. In human beings, there are two, I mean like ABO blood grouping system is there. ABO system is there. This ABO blood grouping system is based on the cell coat proteins, the proteins present in the cell coat. Okay. So you have like the blood groups are there, A group, B group, AB group, and O group. Okay. And then you also have something called as a RH factor, which will be, if it is present, you will call it as a positive. If that RH factor is not there, it is called as a negative. So what are these structures? These structures are proteins which will differentiate your body from another body. Okay. So your body from another body. So basically what is the thing? So if someone else's blood group is going to be given to you, okay, it will just try to differentiate. These cell structures are very important in blood grouping. So that is what is the first point. So what is deciding the blood group? The blood group is decided by antigens present in the cell coat. So they are very important in the blood grouping thing. So this is the first thing. The second point is it is trying to play a major role in graft rejection. What is a graft? Suppose if there is a person one, he has both his kidneys are failed. He has a kidney failure. So let us say that there is a person two. He is going to donate a kidney. This kidney is called as a graft. Graft is a tissue which is being transplanted. While you're transplanting from this person to this person, it has to accept first of all. Okay. When it is accepting, there is no problem. This person will survive. Okay. but there is a possibility that this graft can be rejected. Why? Because the person one's body is trying to consider this particular graft as something foreign. So as soon as that graft is placed there in person one's body, what will happen is the person one's immune system will try to come and kill this graft. Okay, Bombay blood group and all, we'll study about it in blood grouping system, not now. Okay, so we will try to study about this cell coat now. So what will happen is this graft will be rejected. When this graft is getting rejected, what is the meaning of graft rejected? This particular kidney, I have put it in his body, but that kidney is like kind of not ready to function there, because the person one's body is trying to not accept it. So that is what we call it as a graft rejection. Okay, who is responsible for graft rejection? Basically, the cell coat is responsible for graft rejection. The cell coat, this particular organ is having a cell coat. This person is having a cell coat. When both of them are not matching, in that case, what will happen is this particular person's immune system will try to consider this is foreign, and it will try to kill the thing. Any transplant, even blood transfusion, requires lots of criteria. You have something called as a human leukocyte antigen typing that will be done. Blood group typing will be done. Okay, antigen matching will be done. So all these tests has to be done. Only if it is going to fit in properly, in that case only they will go for the thing. Even in that case, there is a chance of rejection. Okay, it has to be 100% match. Only then there is no problem. Whenever even like what is happening is, when you are transferring it, even a patient is going to get it from his son or daughter. Even then it will not match exactly. There is some amount of variation. Okay, so that is what is the second point is trying to tell. The second point is trying to tell what happened if a rejected organ is placed. Na, after you keep it only, you will know whether it is accepting or rejecting. Once if it is rejected, means nothing can be done. That is waste. That organ has become waste, and he has to be like kind of treated with some other organ. So he has to be like kind of I mean, like it is a waste of process. Okay, and then the third function is plasma membranes. It will protect the plasma membrane. Okay, and the fourth one is it will make the cell sensitive to foreign bodies. So whenever this foreign body is coming, no, this will try to understand, okay, this is the cell coat will be the one which will try to tell this is foreign and this is self. Okay, so that is what is the case. So this is, with this thing, cell coat is over, cell envelope is over. Now we are moving to the next part. Okay, can you explain the first point? The first point is that the cell coat only will contain proteins that are involved in blood grouping. Your cell coat only will have different kinds of protein. So let us say that one of this protein is A, one of this protein is B, one of this protein is RH. Then the blood group is AB positive. Suppose let us say that the cell is having some proteins here. One of them is A and one of them is RH. Then this blood group will become A positive. Let us say this person is having cell coat is having only one protein, which is Rh. Nothing else is there. Then it becomes O positive, like this. Are we able to understand? Okay, so now moving on further, we will be having something called as a endomembrane system. Okay, what is endomembrane system? It consists of membranous structures inside the cell. The endomembrane system consists of one is, sorry, not plasma membrane, endoplasmic reticulum. Second one is Golgi body. Third one is lysosome. And fourth one is vacuoles. All these four parts, we call it as the endomembrane system. Okay. So we have completed the cell envelope. Cell envelope is over. So after cell envelope comes your endomembrane system. Plastids will not be for part of the endomembrane system. Endomembrane system will have only four of these things. Okay. It is like kind of a continuous membranous structures. These are all. So let us try to see the endomembrane system in terms of a diagram. Then you will know it. So you are able to see this is like kind of a very continuous thing. You'll be seeing these kind of like continuous membrane structures throughout the cell. Here you are able to see this entire orange color structure. This orange color structures that you are seeing is your endoplasmic reticulum. In continuation to it is your like Golgi body. Okay. In continuation to it is your lysosome. As in like a part of this Golgi body only will become lysosome. Similarly, you will have vacuoles. Vacuoles is not seen here, but vacuole is also part of the endomembrane system. Mitochondria, Golgi body and all, mitochondria, chloroplast and all will not be part of the endomembrane system. They are membrane bound organelles. Okay, you have lots of membrane bound organelles. But when I am trying to tell about the endomembrane system, what we mean here is inner membrane system. Inside the cell, there are like kind of like membranous structures which are present throughout the cell. Those structures are what we call it as endomembrane system. Endomembrane system will have only four parts. These are the four: endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi body, lysosomes, vacuoles. Yeah, exactly. So these cells, these organelles, these structures are always bound as membranous chunk together rather than apart from seen from each other. So what will happen is they are all present close to each other and they are all like present as a membranous chunks, like small clumps of bodies in a cell. Okay, if you're done, we can start with endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, you have endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, it is a complex sac-like structure running throughout the cytoplasm. Okay, they are found in all cells except RBCs of mammals, eggs, and embryonic cells. They are irregular. Structures forming closed internal space that is continuous. Okay, so they are irregular in shape. They will form a closed internal space, which means like if you are having an endoplasmic reticulum, the space is closed. So this, let us say that this is the space. It is a space that is closed and it is like kind of continuous, which means like it will be like this. Let us say that this is how your endoplasmic reticulum will look like. So this is the space which is enclosed and it is like kind of continuous. So the next one will be like this. So which means like here in between, you will have this opening. So this is how it will be like kind of structure. Okay. So now the last part of today's class. There are three forms of endoplasmic reticulum. The first form is what we call it as cisternae. Okay. Cisternae will be like this. With ribosomes attached like this. Okay, you just put some dots throughout. This kind of structure is what we call it as cisternae. Elongated, flattened, sac-like, arranged in bundles, with ribosome. The second one is called as vesicles. Vesicles will be just spherical bodies, that's all. Endoplasmic reticulum will also have vesicles. What are they? They are spherical or round. They are dispersed, devoid of ribosomes. The third one is tubules. The tubules will be like this. Irregular, branched, without ribosome. Okay, these are the three different structures of what? These are the three different types of endoplasmic reticulum. That is cristae. Okay, Kavindra, that is cristae. This is cisternae. I'm talking about something different here. Cisternae is different, cristae is different. Devoid of ribosome means it is not having ribosome, without ribosome. The word devoid means without. I am devoid of something. I am without something. Devoid of peace, you can say. I am devoid of money, you can say. So devoid means without. Okay, so now I'll show you all the slides from first to last. We can just go ahead. First slide. Second slide. Third slide. Fourth slide. Fifth slide. Sixth slide. Seventh slide. Eighth slide. Ninth one. And 10th one. Yeah, third one once again. Okay, thank you very much, children. Thank you all. Wait a minute. 7th slide, someone asked. 10th slide, someone has. Lichens is not there for this test. Only you have Monera. Monera virus and things. The part lichens I did not include, but it should have been included, but I did not include it. I have clubbed it with the fungi, but generally we should not club it with fungi, but I have clubbed it as portions with fungi. Okay, thank you children.